Okay, so are you ready to get rowdy?
Always ready for some ringside action. Let's do it.
All right, fantastic. Well, then let's dive right in, huh? Today we're going to be looking at this contract signing, right?
Yes.
Between Booker T and Zilla Fatu
Oh, this is a good one.
from Reality of Wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, just to kind of set the stage, right? This is obviously pro wrestling, so,
Yes.
it's sports entertainment.
Right.
We all know that it's,
Yeah, of course. Of course.
predetermined outcomes
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But there's still drama.
There's drama. There's real emotion. There are real rivalries.
Yeah, there's real heat sometimes.
Yeah, there's heat.
Absolutely.
And this one really showcases that.
Yeah, and so when we were kind of, looking at this and going through it, we saw that, you sent this in, say, this is a really great example of what's called a promo. And for people who aren't super familiar with wrestling lingo,
Sure.
promo, it's basically,
Kind of like a verbal duel.
yeah, it's like a back and forth,
Yeah.
trash talking.
Yeah.
It's supposed to get the audience hyped up
Yeah, to build anticipation for the match.
for the actual
Right?
match.
Yeah, it's all part of the storytelling. It's like the dialogue scenes in a movie before the big action sequence. It sets the stage, reveals the motivations.
Yeah, and I really like how you put it. You said it's really about kind of a battle for
Yeah.
psychological
dominance.
dominance.
Exactly. Because in wrestling, physical prowess is only half the battle.
Yeah.
You got to get in your opponent's head. You got to break them down mentally before you even step into the ring.
So it's like a mind game as much as a
chest drive.
contest.
Yeah.
So yeah, so let's get into this specific
Let's break it down.
promo.
Right.
So we got Booker T, who's kind of the
He's the legend, right?
Right.
He's the established veteran. Multiple championships under his belt.
right, like Hall of Famer,
Exactly.
multi-time world champion.
A name everybody knows.
He's been in WCW, he's been in WWE, like he's
A true icon.
the man, right?
Mhm.
And then you have Zilla Fatu. Now Zilla Fatu is a little bit newer
He's more of an up-and-comer, yeah.
to the scene,
But he comes from a legendary wrestling family.
but he's got the lineage, right?
Big time.
He's related to
His father is Rikishi, who was a huge star back in the, what was it, the Attitude Era, I think.
right, the famous
The stink face, the dancing.
look at the face, the
Yeah.
Rikishi, right?
So Zilla's got big shoes to fill.
Yeah, he's got big
Yeah,
shoes.
shoes, yeah.
And I think that's something that Booker T is really playing on.
Oh, absolutely. He knows that family legacy is a powerful tool in wrestling, and he uses it to try and get under Zilla's skin.
Yeah, immediately, like right out of the gate.
Yeah, he's trying to frame the narrative. He wants to present himself as the mentor, the authority figure, and Zilla as the disrespectful, the upstart who needs to be put in his place.
And it's so interesting, right? Because you see Booker T almost trying to position himself like as this, like, I don't know, father figure.
Yes, like the wise old sage imparting wisdom.
Yeah, like,
And Zilla's the young pupil who's gone astray.
but it's like it's very like antagonistic
It's a twisted mentorship, yeah.
kind of father figure.
Because he's not really trying to guide Zilla. He's trying to control him, to belittle him.
Yeah, and so like right away you see Booker T doing things like, telling Zilla he needs to apologize.
Yeah, he demands a public apology, wants him to retract previous statements, almost like he's trying to force a confession out of him.
Yeah, there's this weird, like,
It's like he's putting Zilla on trial.
yeah, it's almost like a public shaming kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a classic power move. Because if you can get your opponent to apologize, to admit they were wrong, you've already won half the battle.
You've basically
You've undermined their credibility. You make them look weak in the eyes of the audience.
and it's so interesting too, because like it's one thing to, like, trash talk your
You're
opponent.
talk about their skills, their weaknesses,
Yeah,
their in-ring ability.
yeah, you're gonna beat him in the ring or whatever, but it's like
Booker T goes deeper.
that's another thing to go after.
He attacks Zilla's character.
Their integrity. Yeah, and that's where it gets really personal.
Yeah, and he's doing that in a couple of ways. One, he's constantly bringing up Zilla's father.
Oh yeah, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree line. That's loaded.
That line, I mean, that's such a great.
It's classic wrestling psychology.
Yeah, it's like, because it plays on that family legacy, the weight of expectations. Is Zilla going to live up to his father's name, or is he going to be a disappointment?
Right. And by saying the apple doesn't fall far from the tree,
Mhm.
it's basically implying that, like,
That Zilla is just like his father, and not in a good way.
yeah, he's just like his dad.
He's implying that they're both cowards, that they both lack the heart of a true champion.
And it's also like,
It's a way of diminishing Zilla's accomplishments, making it seem like anything he achieves is only because of his family name, not his own merit.
yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
there's this added layer of tension
But there's
because
history there.
we don't know what the history is.
Right, right. We don't know the specifics of the relationship between Booker T and Rikishi, but clearly there's some bad blood there, some past rivalry that's feeding into this current confrontation.
Yeah, so it's almost like this, like, iceberg, right?
Oh, I like that analogy.
Where you just see the tip of it, but
Yeah.
there's like this whole
This whole underwater mass of history, of animosity that we're not privy to, and that makes it even more compelling.
right. So Booker T is, he's bringing up the dad. He's saying the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Mm.
He's also just like straight up
Yeah, he doesn't hold back.
calling him a coward
Repeatedly.
repeatedly, like over and over again. He keeps saying,
He's hammering that word home, trying to get a reaction.
you're right.
Because if Zilla loses his cool, if he lets his emotions get the better of him, he's playing right into Booker T's hands.
Right. He's letting Booker T
He's letting Booker T control the narrative, control the pace of the confrontation,
control the
energy, the psychology.
and the whole thing. Right.
Exactly.
And this is what's so interesting about how Zilla Fatu reacts to this.
Because he doesn't take the bait.
Because, you would think.
You'd expect a younger wrestler, especially one with a famous father, to get riled up, to try and prove himself.
To, like, lose it a little bit.
To lash out, to get aggressive.
But he doesn't. He actually stays
He stays remarkably calm.
very calm.
Composed. He signs the contract. He doesn't engage in the trash talk. And he doesn't let Booker T dictate the terms of the confrontation.
Which is such an interesting...
It's a power move in itself.
Yeah, because it shows... It's almost like saying, like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna play your game.
I'm not going to let you get in my head.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let you get in my head. I'm not
going
gonna
to beat you at your own game.
I'm not gonna sink to your level. Like, I'm better than that,
And it suggests a level of confidence, of strategic thinking that you don't always see in younger wrestlers.
And it makes me think back to something that you said earlier about how this is like a chess match.
Right.
And it seems like
Zilla's thinking several moves ahead.
Zilla's playing chess.
Yeah.
And Booker T is playing checkers.
He's not falling for the obvious traps.
Right. But, okay, so we've got this back and forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Booker T's just going off.
Running his mouth, laying down the insults.
Zilla's, like, just stone-faced.
Unfazed.
Signs the contract. And then, just when you think it's over, right?
Booker T drops the mic.
Booker T, he like, turns to walk away, but then he just, like...
Throws in one last jab.
Throws out this, like, almost like this, like...
The parting shot.
Offhand comment to somebody off-screen.
Yeah, yeah. He says something like, make sure he understands the stipulations of the match.
Yeah, he's like, explain the stipulations to him.
And then he just walks away, leaving us all hanging.
Yeah, like, mic drop.
Oh.
Boom, walk off.
Classic cliffhanger. And that's what makes it brilliant storytelling.
And like, it's such a...
Because now we're all left wondering, what are those stipulations?
Yeah, what are the stipulations?
Is it a handicap match, a no disqualification match,
Right.
a steel cage? The possibilities are endless, and that's what keeps the audience hooked.
Right. And what I love about it is, like, it's such a simple thing.
Yeah.
But it's so effective.
It's that little bit of mystery, that unanswered question that keeps you thinking about it, talking about it.
Because it makes you want...
It makes you want to tune in to the next show to see what happens next.
Yeah. It makes
you want
brilliant.
to see the match, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like the end of a TV episode that leaves you on a cliffhanger. You got to come back next week to see how it resolves.
So we've got this, we've got this promo, we've got all this tension, right? We've got this
psychological warfare.
We've got family legacy. We've got
the weight of expectations.
This huge question mark hanging over everything. Like, what are the stipulations? What's going to happen?
And you got to remember, this is all before the match even begins.
Right. This is all just like the pre-show.
The pre-game show.
So to kind of like wrap things up here, I guess the big question is,
yeah,
like, what happens next?
What's going through Zilla Fatu's mind at this point? Right. Like, what's going on in his head?
Do you think he's doubting himself? Is he intimidated by Booker T's mind games? Or is this just fueling his fire even more?
Because, I mean, he's got a lot to prove.
He does. He's got to prove that he can step out of his father's shadow and create his own legacy.
He's got to prove that he's not a coward.
He's got to prove that he can withstand the pressure, that he can overcome adversity and come out on top.
And ultimately, he's got to prove that he can beat Booker T.
Right, and that's the classic wrestling story, isn't it? The young lion challenging the aging king, the up-and-comer trying to dethrone the established legend.
And so the question is, can Zilla Fatu
Can he pull it off?
pull it off?
That's the question we're all left with.
Yeah, can he rise to the occasion, or is he going to crumble under the pressure?
It's going to be a heck of a match.
Man, I'm so hyped for this now.
I'm ready to see how it all goes down.
And you know what? I want to know what you guys think.
Yeah, let's hear it.
What are your predictions? Hit us up on social media. Let us know what you think's going to happen.
Who do you think's going to win? What do you think those stipulations are?
We're dying to know.
This is a deep dive, and we want you to be a part of it.
All right. Awesome. Well, on that note, I think we're going to wrap things up here.
Sounds good.
Until next time, stay curious, keep diving deep,
And stay rowdy.
and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Yes.